Good evening, viewers. A warm welcome to Hope Channel Zambia, television that changes lives. It's now time for the news, and to present it, my name is Delane Kaputula Mayuka. Let's take a look at top stories today. LCC and paid ex-workers protest again. Local authorities urge to take responsibility and curb indiscriminate dumping of solid waste. Zambians living in Germany urge to avoid engaging in vices that can negatively dent the country. Masewa says Zambia has made commendable progress in developing national health research systems. These stories plus more coming up after this.
According to Bemba people, they say ubuchende bwamu aume tabutobenganda, meaning adultery involving a husband does not break a home. There are many factors, there are many drivers to divorce.
Okay.
And let me enumerate a few. One of it is teenage marriages.
Okay.
Here are young people, they are 13 years, 14 or 15, 16 or 19. They get into marriage. They have not matured to the point that they can make good decisions.
Okay.
As they grow, they start regretting. So early marriages are vulnerable to fall prey to divorce.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. And on sign language today, we have George Kalimukwa. And now, here is the news in detail. Lusaka City Council, LCC ex-contractual workers this morning protested, demanding for their 18 months unpaid salaries. The ex-workers sang songs of solidarity while management held a closed-door meeting that lasted for more than 2 hours. LCC management terminated contracts for the protesters in July and promised that they would be paid within a period of 21 days. Efforts to get a comment from council management proved futile by broadcast time as management asked the media to excuse them. We have details in the following report.
So police officers keeping vigil of Lusaka Civic Center, ex-contractual workers who protested this morning. The protesters have narrated that they are demanding for their unsettled salaries they worked for 18 months before their contracts were terminated in July this year.
Mami, 18 months. Not that we are in the youth in the panel, in the youth 100% in youth. So why do you design the government not change what Pisha Manchito could depend on
no graduates, no leave days, no marias. Wanatipa saleta pa 19 July. Ati zaku pasan by 21 ya pita. Au zaku pasan mid October leo mpachana. Lelo gate ni pa 19 zaku pasan rama gana tukutia kukuti. Akanza kusupport hizi tandi zila branch. Since last year non drama 18 months no salary. Our council machira mo. Mas terminate my contract. Mona mangati kutia kuti. Mona mangati survive branch. Tipasen drama zatu tiambe ma business. Tipasen mandrama zatu tiambe business. Ni boma ya branch nesi tandi za bantu kazi. Drama sama basi ya single parents. Tripe ya kwani baranda zatu pusha manyumba. Batipasa kwa drama present ngati banda. Tifuna drama zatu batupasi zameti na 7 sela. Kaputika papaka.
Otherwise, to Aribomba, 18 months, no pay. But to Wachira mbachira mkuweba mairo na mairo next week indarama tashire moneka so echo tuishire lero pano pakufuma pano turefu indarama shingire mu account chapwa no chifya kweba ture pepekana hao ushekanshini shtuka survive shani ubuteko bukati wafwa shani ubuteko bufwire bwatu wafo kupitira mu twabomba sha batupere ndarama nombo buteko ngatabure tupere ndarama tukabomba shani we are Zambian that's why twale panga effort panga ko effort ko batu vote tumoneko change manje change taire moneka no mani shtora bomba shani tulolesheni komwe buteko tulechula pa kanso mu kanso omu musha kanso takachinje kanso ifuire ya chinja because iresebanye obuteko iresebanye chalo ifwa kuno tuishire ku kanso kuno ku civic center tulefuwa endalama bakufuma pano 18 months batupele not tukaleko no kuisako kuno amachito bali tutamfya kati nomba bare mona tule survive shani amachito tatukweja pa kwikati vivya kwe bati palasti mwamona fya bakabwala ala bafura mkomboni ati bakabwala ala bafura shani kanshita muleba pere fya kuchita batupele ndalama shesu
I'm very disappointed. CDF impya barepera abantu amaloni, but they are failing to give us our money. No, why are they failing to give us the money that we worked for? We are youths. How come pasa CDF ndarama? CDF zamenezo nishizitoka kuti. Why is pasa ndarama za national ndarama pasa ba CDF for 18 months? Where in the world can we wangangare 18 months before? But chikuri setinga ndarama kulibe. This my youth bamene my youth. This my youth bamene. But pasa ndarama za sitoko vina. Management kulipe bamene ikamba mailo next week the other month the other day. For how long? Is that what I did? No, kusokonezeka kwa kwa government bachi. But pasa tapenda lama zakabola kona kona kupanga chongo. Tuna mabana na mafamilies.
Twali chinjo buteko ati dimbyubu buteko bwala ingira po. Bala pera kwempya bala tumfira ko luseno mana weno buteko bushire po niwesi. Nomba pato achinja.
The ex-workers were promised that their unpaid salaries would be paid within a space of 21 days. The media could not be allowed to hear of the conclusion of the management meeting that lasted for more than 2 hours. Mebo Chitimbiti, reporting for Hope News in Lusaka.
Local Government Minister Gary Nkombo has challenged local authorities to take responsibility and curb indiscriminate dumping of solid waste in communities. Speaking at the official opening of the JICA Solid Waste Management Seminar in Lusaka, Mr. Nkombo said the local authorities should ensure that they sensitize residents in their respective cities in order for them to keep their cities clean. Meanwhile, Mr. Nkombo said there is need for mindset change among residents in the fight against indiscriminate disposal of waste. He said for over 57 years, the country has been experiencing this problem that has continued to cause a negative impact on the country's climate. More in this story.
Aspires to live in a clean and healthy environment through the country's Vision 2030, it is, however, regrettable that the situation of garbage collection and general cleanliness of the premises, residences, and communities surrounding remains a very serious problem, which has resulted into public places, common areas becoming dumping grounds or disposing areas, and it is truly unacceptable to the health and well-being of our citizens. And also, it creates a terrible impression on our visitors who come and go. On account of lack of investment in the past, now, and I hope not in the future, to make sure that the management of the disposal of waste is done in tandem with the demands that come with increased population. And it's also worsened by designated operating areas. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Vending, illegal vending, I'm talking about, has been more or less institutionalized in the past, where people trade here, there, and everywhere, and they dispose their waste anyhow. A typical example that I can give on the plastic menace is if you go along the Bombay drainage, which was constructed primarily for creating a water path for times when we have excess rainfall, to drain the city and take the water where it should go. You will find that these drainages small and big, in all sizes, are blocked by plastic, and thereby creating a backlash and creating an environment that becomes very, very susceptible to epidemic. And so as we try to get the local authorities capacitated, it becomes extremely important that we try to campaign for a cultural shift from what things are today, where people can just dump waste anyhow, to make sure that we do not only stiffen the laws that speak to the challenge of indiscriminate dumping, but also to inculcate, starting from common areas, markets, schools, where people congregate, that we must make this a headline story, that the indiscriminate dumping of garbage does more harm than good to our society and communities. It is regrettable that 57 years after we attained our independence, we still fail to sustainably manage the waste that we generate.
Now, in other news, Minister of Defense Ambrose Lufuma says Zambia is ready to acquire the latest state-of-the-art technology system to safeguard its cyberspace through military partnership with the Indian government. In a pre-recorded address yesterday at the 12th edition of the Indian-Africa Defense Dialogue being held in the state of Gujarat, whose theme is Path to Pride, Mr. Lufuma said India has contributed a lot in the quest to modernize Zambia's defense forces through training programs spanning over 4 decades. He said during the period, Zambia's defense forces have received invaluable financial and technical support, and that the establishment of the Zambia Defense Forces Command and Staff College with mutual support from 1995 to 2008 is another example of how the two countries have collaborated over the years. He noted that though relatively young in comparison to other staff colleges in the region, the college has worldwide acclaim because of its high standard of imparting knowledge, which has translated into the ever-increasing demand for more slots on the course by various countries in the region and beyond. He said the Zambia Defense Forces have many training needs which can be addressed by India's bilateral assistance, and that Zambia is desirous to learn from India through the establishment of defense industries within Zambia through joint venture agreements and public-private partnerships. He noted that once this is agreed upon, the parties can collaborate on the shareholding in line with each country's domestic and international law.
The new Dawn government, under the leadership of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, is desirous to strengthen international relations with the Republic of India in a bid to improving the livelihoods of the Zambian people. To that effect, Zambia identified India as a strategic partner in the defense industry. Zambia is desirous to learn from India through the establishment of defense industries within Zambia through joint venture agreements and private-public partnerships agreements. Once that is agreed upon, the parties can collaborate on the shareholding in line with each country's domestic and international law.
Meanwhile, Defense Minister Ambrose Lufuma has called on youths in the country to cooperate with the New Dawn government in the fight for climate change justice. Mr. Lufuma noted that the effects of climate change are severe, as can be observed from the change in the rain pattern in the country. He said youths need to play an active role in identifying where the problem lies and offer solutions where climate change is concerned. He added that the New Dawn government has demonstrated its willingness to fight for climate change justice through the formation of the Ministry of Green Economy and has since urged youths to capitalize on it. The minister said this when he officiated at the local conference of youth on climate change themed Call to Action for Climate Change Justice in Lusaka today. More in this story.
On Wednesday, 19th October 2022, a coalition of organizations successfully held a local conference of youth on climate change at Lusaka's Golden Peacock Hotel. The workshop attracted a delegation of more than 200 youths drawn from across the country. The conference was themed A Call to Action for Climate Justice, a well-suited theme owing to the fact that climate change has become a global problem. This reporter took time to interact with some of the participants present at the event, and they shared their thoughts regarding climate change and its effects as well as its possible solutions.
As we walk around our communities, there are challenges that communities are being faced. We cannot box climate change issues into one issue. There are issues of housing, issues of water, issues of sanitation, issues of having green spaces within our communities for them to be more resilient, issues of energy, issues of food. So we can't just say climate change is only about one thing. It affects different areas, and communities need to be heard. Communities have their local knowledge, and we are asking that the scientific knowledge and the local knowledge be brought together so that we fight this big monster that is affecting our communities, our lives.
As youths, we are the majority in this country, Zambia. We hold 60% of the population, which means we have the power to bring change to our own nation and better our environments, because this country is our home. The world is our home. If we do not take care of it, we are definitely damaging it. So what we can do, we should involve ourselves. We should take keen interest in collecting knowledge on how we can better our environments, not just sitting around. What can we do in order to make sure that our environments are safe?
As government, through the Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, we are creating an enabling environment to enable people participate in housing development, and especially in issues to do with climate resilience in human settlements.
Minister of Defense Honorable Ambrose Lufuma, who was a guest of honor at the event, said youths play a critical role in the fight for climate justice.
Youths are very important stakeholders in the advocacy of climate justice. This implies that the voices of the youth should be key in strategies and policies that are meant to mitigate climate change and build the adaptive capacities of the vulnerable populations to climate impacts.
He then officially opened the conference.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor and privilege to declare the local conference of youth on climate change officially open.
Daniel Chilema, reporting for Hope News in Lusaka.
Thank you, Daniel, for that report. We now go on a commercial break, and join me for more local stories and international news. Don't go away.
According to Bemba people, they say, ubuchende bwamu aume tabutobe nganda. Meaning, adultery involving a husband does not break a home. There are many factors, there are many drivers to divorce.
Okay.
And let me enumerate a few. One of it is teenage marriages.
Okay.
Here are young people, they are 13 years, 14 or 15, 16 or 19. They get into marriage. They have not matured to the point that they can make good decisions.
Okay.
As they grow, they start regretting. So early marriages are vulnerable to fall prey to divorce.
The big one is coming. Yes, it's the Senior Youth Congress for the Southern Zambia Union Conference from December 18th to the 24th, 2022. Petauke Boarding High School in East Zambia Field is the destination. All ambassadors, young adults and those invested as singing youth leaders are welcome. This is the best way to close this year of the Lord 2022. The theme for the Congress says, One in Christ, with our guest speaker, Dr. Watson Biriri, the Zimbabwe East Union Youth Director. Many other gifted speakers shall be there. Before we run out of space and time, make your deposits of only 180 kwacha registration fee and then register yourself online on the link below. Don't miss this unique opportunity.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. The Zambian embassy in Berlin has advised Zambians living in Germany to avoid engaging in vices that will give Zambia negative publicity. Chargé d'affaires at the Zambian embassy in Berlin, Mrs. Dorcas Chileshe, said Zambians living in Germany must instead strive to exhibit hard work, good character, and peaceful nature, which will match Zambia's status as a beacon of peace. Mrs. Chileshe said this in Berlin when she addressed Zambians who attended a virtual National Day of Prayer under the theme Promoting National Unity, Peace, and Integration for a Prosperous Nation Through Hard Work. She said Zambians who are studying and working in the diaspora needed to use the opportunity to acquire advanced skills and knowledge which would create positive publicity and contribute to Zambia's development. Mrs. Chileshe also appealed to Zambians in the diaspora to pray for the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, and the entire leadership so that God would continue to grant them wisdom to transform Zambia into a prosperous nation. The virtual prayer meeting was attended by Zambians living in Germany and countries of extra accreditation, including Austria, Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, Slovenia, and the Czech Republic. This is contained in a statement issued by Lubinda Kashweka, First Secretary for Press at the Zambian Embassy in Berlin, Germany. Moving on, the Handloom Textiles Technology Association of Zambia, HATAZ, says increasing cotton yields will create more opportunities in the cotton value chain. HATAZ, with support from the International Cotton Advisory Committee and European Union under the Artisanal Value Addition Project, has trained over 500 women in weaving and spinning of cotton. Association National Coordinator Doris Piri says women weaving and spinning cotton products have also been linked to the market. Ms. Piri says the development of the cotton value chain has the potential to create additional employment, especially for rural women. Ms. Piri says her organization is also working on getting certification from the Zambian Bureau of Standards to ensure the women get into the export market. Ms. Piri says certification will link the weavers and spinners to the international market, further increasing the industry growth and guarantee income for rural households. She is optimistic that efforts by stakeholders aimed at improving cotton productivity will increase growth and guarantee income for rural households. Details in the following story.
It does provide a good potential for the sector because now we're trying to develop the value chain, because we know that the cotton value chain is really a long value chain and there are opportunities at every point. So as we invest in the value addition of cotton, more farmers begin to have interest in growing cotton so that they can make extra income other than just selling it as it is. So it provides, also the project's aim, increasing the yields, provides an opportunity for increased production and growing of cotton by farmers.
Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo has called on the National Health Research Authority to come up with strong strategies to promoting research complementary medicine alternatives. Speaking during the 10th Zambia Health Research Conference under the theme Public Health Emergencies on Leveraging Research and Scientific Innovation to Prevent Future Pandemics in Zambia, Ms. Masebo said government has placed premium in research, scientific innovations and technology as a key development in all sectors, mostly in the health sector. The minister said Zambia has made commendable progress in developing national health research systems, as evidenced from the 2018 National Health Research System to about 81%, which is only second to South Africa. Ms. Masero further encouraged the National Health Research Authority to come up with strategies which will promote research in traditional, complementary, and alternative medicines. Meanwhile, National Health Research Authority Chief Executive Officer and Director, Professor Geoffrey Biemba, requested government to allocate at least 15% to that. Details in this report.
With the aim of discussing the most recent scientific innovations and discoveries for improving the health of the population in the country, the Zambia National Public Health Institute, ZNPHI, held the 10th Zambia Health Research Conference under the theme Public Health Emergencies on leveraging research and scientific innovations to prevent future pandemics in Zambia. Speaking in a conference meeting, the government representative, Honorable Minister of Health, Madam Silva Timasel, gave the key points on ministerial statement that the government has placed premium in research, scientific innovations, and technology as a key development in all sectors, mostly in the health sector.
Under the leadership of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, has placed premium on research, scientific innovations, and technology as key drivers of development in all sectors, more so in the health sector.
Sylvia Marcel says Zambia has been commended progress country in developing national health research systems, as evidenced from the 2018 National Health Research System on scoring 81% success, and was the second to South Africa in establishing the effective national health research in systems.
Zambia, like other African countries, has made commendable progress in developing national health research systems, as evidenced from the 2018 National Health Research Systems, which is a barometer study supported by the European and Developing Countries Trials Partnerships, EDCTP, and the World Health Organization, WHO, that showed that Zambia scored 81% success and was second to South Africa in establishing effective national health research systems.
She further encourages the National Health Research Authority to come up with strategies to promote research in traditional, complementary, alternative, and medicines.
The National Health Research Authority to come up with strategies to promote research in traditional, complementary, and alternative medicine.
Meanwhile, the CEO and Director of National Health Research Authority, Professor Geoffrey Biemba, presented a number of activities they want the government to look at by earnestly requesting the government to allocate 15% of the national budget to health research, allocate 2% of the health budget to research, and strengthen further the National Health Research System through increased support to the National Health Research Authority.
Or recommending government to allocate at least 15% of the national health budget, to health. 15% of the national budget to health. Again, these numbers that you see here are not just basically coming from our heads, no. These are numbers that have been recommended through WHO and various fora. So we're basically just requesting that if government can work towards allocating 15% of the national budget to health, that will help research as well. Because as long as the health budget is small, even if we allocated 5, 10, whatever percentage, the actual amount will still be small. Number two, we are recommending that government allocates at least 2% of the health budget to research. Number three, we are recommending that government strengthens further the National Health Research System through increased support to the National Health Research Authority. Then to our cooperating partners, we are just asking one thing, that our cooperating partners allocate 5% of the health budget to the health research. That's a recommendation. Number three, last recommendation, is we are asking our pharmaceutical industry and other private sector players to invest in clinical research.
Hope News, Perry Nixon, Lusaka.
On that health news, we conclude our news bulletin for this evening, but before we go, let's take another look at our headlines. LCC unpaid ex-workers protest again. Local authorities urged to take responsibility and curb indiscriminate dumping of solid waste. Zambians living in Germany urged to avoid engaging in vices that can negatively dent the country. Masewa says Zambia has made commendable progress in developing national health research systems. I was your news anchor for today, Delaine Kaputula Mayuka, and on sign language we had George Kalimukwa. Please stay tuned to Hope Channel Zambia television that changes lives. Stay blessed.